Good morning. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. We are going to start in a seated position today. So just go ahead and take your time. I'll just give everyone just almost a minute to join the meeting, join Zoom. If you'd like to take a blanket or something, a cushion to sit on, just come to a seated position. All right. Give everyone here. And come and take a seat. Just come in that cross-legged position. Start to take some big breaths. And just start to ground down into the mat, into the blanket, whatever you're sitting on. Just feeling that connection with the mat. You can go ahead and rock from side to side. Then once you're here, you can place the hands on the knees. Sorry. And start to take a big breath, fill up your belly. Gently close your eyes. Exhale, let everything go. Gently close the eyes. Just going to release everything, any worries, any to-do lists, tasks, concerns, just for the next hours. Let everything go. Just release down to the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Pull up through that invisible string, pulling up through the crown of your head. And the exhalation, let those shoulders just drop. And just release away from the ears. So we got a nice energetic core. Nice long spine from the tailbone up to the top of the head. And the exhalation, let those shoulders just melt a tiny bit further down the back, away from the ears. And then really concentrating on filling up that belly, expanding that rib cage. Really expand, fill up the lungs. And exhale, lungs, releasing, and then pulling that, drawing that navel in, pulling that in to completely empty the belly. And again, from that tailbone, really challenging that belly, tummy, just to fill up oxygen through the lungs. Even inhaling to the very top of the head. Exhale from the top of the head, from the lungs, the chest down. You can take a hand to the chest and a hand to the belly if you'd like to feel the breath. Just continue those waves of breath that start at the tailbone and the belly, pressing that belly out. Expand. Up through the top of the head. Exhale. Every exhalation is feeling more connected, more grounded into the mat. And just listen to your breath for a few moments. Feel the breath entering and exiting your body. Maybe take a moment to just set an intention for the class, for the hour if you like. Maybe it's just really focusing on your breath, trying to keep that awareness on the breath. And when it wanders away, just bringing it back. No judgments, just letting it go and then coming back to the breath, or just focusing on stretching, on creating space in the body, or just relaxing, relieving tension in the hips or the shoulders. Just take a few more breaths here. Now, next inhalation, we'll gently open the eyes. Just blink a few times. And we'll bring those hands out to the sides and just move them back. We're just going to gently open up the chest. Just gently take that gaze kind of up at an angle. Just opening that heart. Just feel that skin across the chest stretching. Pulling those shoulders just a little bit back towards the back of the room. Maybe imagine squeezing a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And releasing, coming forward, just reaching through those fingertips, walk those out. Just find the place where you want to be here. Want to feel heavy in those sit bones and those hips. Maybe you want to come to your elbows, or maybe just right here is fine. And lengthen through the back of the neck. Exhale, just take that nose towards the floor. And breathe long, deep, even breaths. Just softening our gaze, or even closing your eyes here if you like. And walk those hands over to the right. Pulling back with that left hip and reaching through those left fingertips. Let's imagine creating space in that joint in the hip. Through that left side of the torso. And back to center for breath. And then walk those hands over to the left, pulling back through that right hip. Reach those right fingertips. Take your awareness to your face. Notice if you're holding any tension and release. Let the tongue be loose in the mouth, releasing those cheeks, the jaw. Back to center. Walk those hands back in. Just gonna bring our legs up and just switch. And just to quickly even out, we'll just come forward for a few breaths. Just noticing different sensations in your hips. Maybe walk those fingers just a little bit further. His hips are heavy. And walk the hands back in. And connect the breath to the motion. Start doing movements. So we're going to inhale up, reach. Bring those hands together and just pull them into heart center. Inhale. Just moving those hands out to the side and slowly up. Bring those palms together, pull them down. Exhale, hands to heart center. And inhale. Reach energetic through the arms. Really take those fingertips. Just waggle those, really reach into the ceiling. And then coming out to a V, pulling those elbows down just once, feeling that stretch in the front of the shoulders. Reach up. Then up to the ceiling, interlock those fingers, press up towards the ceiling. And feel that stretch in the backs of the shoulders. And then we'll bring those hands to the back of the head just softly and let the weight of the hands just bring that chin in towards the chest. So we're not pressing the head, just kind of letting that weight of the hands sit on the back of the head and lengthening through the back of the neck. So just gentle with the neck, as always. Bringing that chin into the chest. And release those hands down to the sides. Inhale up, we'll just exhale that right ear towards that right shoulder. Reaching out to both sides. You can add this right hand if you like, guiding that ear down. Just resting the weight. And release. From here, just taking that hand to the side of the face and just letting that head like rest in that palm. Just let all the weight in the head just goes into the arm. And taking your awareness through this neck area. And release. We're going to reach to those right fingertips. Bring that ear down to the other side. And stay here or add this left hand. Guide that left ear to the left shoulder. And release. And bring that hand to the left side of the face. And it's a little bit tricky at first, but really just letting go through the neck. Seeing if you can really release that head into the hand. Just for a breath. And release. Bring that chin down towards the chest. Bring the hands to the knees. And start to roll that right ear towards the right shoulder. And taking those circles with the nose. Slowly, carefully, being mindful of the neck. Not doing anything that is uncomfortable, that hurts, pinches. This should feel really good. Through the shoulders, through the back and the neck, top of the shoulders, the traps. Change direction. Slowly and mindfully drawing those circles with the nose. Change direction. close your eyes if that feels better. And then one more time, one more direction change. And start to just make those circles smaller, smaller, slowly. And back to center. And inhale up those arms one more time. Exhale, come down to the right and reach over with that left arm, pressing up out of that left hip. Come down. If you come down to your elbow, that's fine, or just staying here as a lengthened arm. Just want to feel that opening in that left side. Want both of those hips and sit bones still firmly planted, connected to the mat. Inhale up. Reach, active through those arms, and then come down to the other side. So we're reaching up and over. And inhale up. We're going to come down to the right side. Bring that thumb towards the back of the room, spin open. Opening that heart, and then releasing, bringing that left hand down to the right knee, and then bring that right hand behind you. We're going to inhale, lengthen through that crown of the head. Exhale, gentle twist to the back of the room. Inhale, pulling up through that imaginary string. Exhale, twisting just a tiny bit more. To then gaze just a millimeter more towards the back of the room. And release, and slowly unwind. Come down to that left hand, reach over. Bring that thumb towards the back of the room, spin open, open that heart to the ceiling. And then bring that hand down to that left knee, reach behind with that left fingertips, through those left fingertips, lift up through the crown of the head. Exhale, take that gaze to the back of the room. Active through that core, drawing that navel in. Inhaling through the crown of the head. Exhale, twist. And release, slowly unwind. I'm gonna bring that right arm across the body and just kind of massage that, pull that across, or guide that across, and kind of massage your arm as you pull it across gently. And release, bringing that left arm across, and slowly from the shoulder, just guiding that shoulder, massage the arm. Release. I'm gonna reach out to the sides, active, almost feeling like those hands are being pushed towards the back of the room, and give yourself a hug. Pull those shoulders down, lengthen through the back of the neck, just a tiny tuck with the chin. And release, reach out, and hugging yourself with the other arm on top, and pulling down. Gently tucking the chin, lengthening through the back of the neck. Feel a nice long spine, active core. And release. From here, slowly come to a tabletop position. Just take your time. Bring those wrists underneath the shoulders. Knees underneath the hips. Press down through the tops of those feet. Spread out those fingers. We're pressing up. Once we're here, we're going to inhale, press that belly down, pull those shoulders back, open up that heart to the front of the mat. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin. And inhale, pushing that navel down for cow, pulling those shoulders back. And exhale, tucking the tailbone, and then bringing that chin in towards the chest, pushing the middle of the back up towards the ceiling. And inhale back to cow, and with your own breath, at your own pace, taking a few more rounds of that cat and cow. It's really exaggerating, pressing that navel down, pulling those shoulders back for cow, and then rounding everything, pushing that middle of the back up to the ceiling for cat. Just feeling that spine start to warm up, become a little more malleable. And back to a neutral position. We're going to tuck those right toes and bring that right heel back, soften through that calf muscle. And just coming back and forth a few times. And then from here, we're going to bring that foot across to the left, across that left foot. And it doesn't have to come very far. We just want to feel that stretch kind of in that left hip. It's kind of awkward at first, but should feel a little bit of a stretch in the right hip, a little bit in the left. And release back, pressing to that right heel, just softening that calf one more time. And then taking that awareness to that inner right thigh. We're going to lift, level off those hips. Stay here, or you can add that left arm as always. Really reaching to those left fingertips, pulling up through that navel. It's really good for strengthening your back. And pulling up through that navel, keeping that core really strong. Really helps your stability. And release down. We're going to inhale. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. And inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, over the right shoulder. So just kind of moving our spine, our body in a C shape. Inhale, center, exhale. Just one more time on both sides. Really just opening up that side of the body. And release. From here, press through that left heel, soften that calf muscle. I'm going to softly come back and forth. And then bring that foot across and just pressing kind of back at an angle. And making sure those hands are really, fingers are spread out. We're distributing that weight in that palm and the fingers, like protecting the wrists. And bring that foot back. Take your awareness to your inner left thigh. We're going to lift up, really engaging those glutes and hamstring, pulling up through that navel, staying here, or add that right arm. One more breath here. And release down. Bring those knees wide. I'm gonna just ease those hips back and then reaching forward. Let that forehead come all the way down to the mat and just release, let everything go for a few breaths. Just taking a quick body scan here, all the way from your fingertips down to your toes. Checking in with your body. And bring those hands kind of underneath the shoulders, kind of press up. You can keep those knees towards the edges of the mat. And we're going to inhale up through that right elbow, maybe all the way through the right hands. And just threading that through, bringing that shoulder down. Reach forward with that left arm. Just melt that shoulder into the mat. Just letting every muscle in the shoulder just release, relax, and melt into the mat. Bring your awareness to your breath. Notice those nice, deep, even breaths. And bend that left arm. We're going to press up. Press down to that right palm. Inhale up through that left elbow. Then extend all the way if you like. And then go ahead and just thread that arm through. Bring that left shoulder down. Reaching forward with the right arm. And just melt that left shoulder into the mat. Breathe into the belly. And spin that right arm. We're going to press up. Bring those knees in underneath the hips. We're going to walk those hands forward, come to puppy. So just pressing to those palms, let that forehead come down. You're feeling that stretch in the shoulders. Maybe spider crawl those fingers a little bit further forward, or even come up on your fingertips for a deeper stretch in that shoulder area. And release, come forward onto your belly. And keep those hands underneath the shoulders. And press everything into the mat. Tops of the legs, hip points, palms. And then from here, we're going to peel that chin and that chest up away from the mat. Maybe just an inch, maybe a little bit more, wherever you're comfortable. Just always be mindful of that low back. Pressing through the palms. And release down. Bring your palms, hands underneath your head. Just bring your right cheek to come and rest down on your hands. Take a breath here. Bend those knees and just rock those from right to left. Not as fast or as slow as you like. Should feel like a nice little massage stretch for your low back. And drop the legs, reach forward with the arms. Now inch those elbows in toward the body. And finding where you'd like to take the Sphinx pose. Just be careful, mindful, what feels okay in that low back area. Again, press through those palms, through those elbows, through those forearms. Everything's engaged, the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads. Rising up from those elbows all the way to the top of the head. Just one more easy breath here. And release. Bring those hands underneath the head again. We'll bring the left cheek down to the hands. Release the head. Let everything relax for a breath. And bend those knees again. Just rock those feet or window wash those legs. And drop the legs. Bring those palms underneath the shoulders and we slowly start to press up to a tabletop. Bring those knees under the hips, really spreading out those fingers. Make sure that middle finger is pointed towards the top of the mat. And we'll tuck those toes and start to slowly straighten those legs. Come into downward facing dog. We just start to walk the dog. Alternate those heels on the mat. Soften to the backs of the knees. Heels don't have to come all the way down. And walk those feet towards the hands. And those knees bend toward those legs a little more straight, maybe just a micro bend in the knees, so we're not completely locking out that joint. And those hips over the ankles, so we've got this joint stacked. You don't want to be swaying back, more like a very stacking the joints right on top of each other. And then from here, we're going to grab opposite elbows. Just let that head hang, let that neck be loose. Strong through those legs, pressing to all four corners of the feet, and maybe just sway with the top part of the body from right to left. And nod your head yes, shake your head no. Drop those hands. Just going to stay in this forward fold for a few breaths, just letting that blood flow to the heart. Anytime we have our heart below our hips, it's technically inversion. Just gives the body a break from pumping that blood up. Inhale, slowly bring those hands to the shins. And gaze forward, lifting to that belly. And we're going to exhale, bring those hands back down to the mat, and then we're going to step back with that left foot and come into a low lunge. Just take your time getting here. If you have to scoot your foot, bringing that knee over that ankle, lifting for the back hamstring, starting to build some heat in the body. And then bring that knee down to the mat. Planting that left hand. Gentle opening here. Maybe even open that chest a little bit more to the ceiling. And then exhale back down. And stay in here or bring those hands to the top of that right thigh. Pull back through that right hip crease. If you want an extra shoulder stretch or you feel really stable here, you can always bring those hands to the back, interlock those fingers, and just press back with that shoulder girdle or shoulders kind of pinch a pencil behind inside of those shoulder blades again. But only if you feel really stable here, you can even just stay here. You can come here, soften those hips down, forward. And breathe into any tight areas. Release in the exhalation. We're going to softly bring those hips back, lengthen. Right toes up to the ceiling and coming forward. Into that half split or runner stretch. Soften to the back of that right knee. Pull that heart towards the foot. And just one more breath here. And release. Going to bring those hips forward again and bring those hands on the inside of the right foot. So for lizard, you can stay here. You can even bring those hands out at an angle. Or even take that knee and bring that over to the right if you're feeling really flexible. You just want to soften through that hip flexor, that right hip flexor, the inside and the outside. And breathe into the belly. And bring those hands back. We'll tuck those back toes and just lengthen through both of the legs. We're going to scooch in to that forward or side stretch, intense side stretch or pyramid pose. Feet can be hip width apart, or just finding the distance or the stance where you can really at least get those fingertips down. Want those hips squared as much as possible towards the front of the mat. We're pressing down to those feet, splitting that mat apart. Try to lengthen through the back of that neck. And then breathe into that belly. And then gently release, and we'll go right into a crescent pose. We're going to bend that front knee, press to that back heel, and we're going to really engage that core and then lift up. Now staying here for crescent, or bring those arms all the way up, pulling those shoulders away, lift into that back hamstring, strong through those legs. And drop the arms, straighten those legs, and then bring those toes pointed towards the side of the mat. Take the outside edges of the feet and have those be parallel with the edges of the mat. Maybe you can heel to those feet a little bit further apart, maybe closer together. We're going to take a forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, just fold forward at the hips. And bring those hands down. Pressing to those feet, sucking up those kneecaps, splitting that mat apart again. Stay here, grab those ankles, pull your forehead towards the mat. Active through the legs, engaging everything. And bring those hands back under your head. We're going to slowly come up. Very slowly. Be mindful of feeling any dizziness, just go right back down. slowly. Head up very last. And then bring those hands behind. Interlock those fingers. We're going to bring those shoulder blades together. Pull those shoulders back. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, just fold forward. Pressing through those feet. Let that top part of the body just hang down, pulling into that stretch. And release those hands down. Just slightly bend that right knee. We're going to kind of bring those hands over towards the right foot. And then straighten that right leg. Walk those hands over to the left. Slightly bend that left knee. Just find that opening here. And then just one more time. Over to the right. And straightening that right leg, bend the left. And lengthening both the legs. We're gonna inhale, come up again slowly. Head up very last. And then from here, pointing those toes out towards the corners of the mat. Hands to heart center. We're just gonna sink the hips down and track those knees over the feet. A nice strong belly, strong core. You're gonna stay here for goddess pose, or you can even lift up those heels at the same time or alternate. Just here for a few breaths. And release, we're straightening those legs, release the arms. And then we're gonna just come over, turn towards the back of the mat or the other side. We're gonna have that left knee bent now. Then we're gonna come down to that lunge. So we're lifting to that right hamstring. Bring your awareness to your back and breath. Just pay attention to what that's doing. Bring that back knee down. Plant that right hand, spread those fingers, inhale up. Gentle twist. And exhale. Come back down. And then staying here, or bring those hands up to the knee. Pulling back through that left hip crease. Pressing down to the top of that right foot. You can bring those hands behind your back again for that shoulder stretch if you like, completely optional. And release those hands down. So let those hips fall forward just a tiny bit. And then we're going to straighten through that left leg. Left toes up towards the ceiling. And lengthen through the crown of the head and just fold forward the hips. Come into that runner stretch. We're keeping that right hip over that right knee. And release those hips forward. Bring those hands to the inside of the foot. Maybe take that knee just out a little bit or just keep that here. You can walk those hands out at an angle. Softening to that left hip flexor. And walk those hands back. I'm gonna tuck those toes and come into pyramid pose on the other side. So maintaining that stance, get those feet together, maybe a little bit further apart. And we're pressing through the feet. Suck up those kneecaps, pull that navel in, lengthen through the back of the neck. Just breathe. And then from here, we're going to scooch that right foot back a little bit, sink those hips, bring that front knee to almost a 90-degree angle. It doesn't have to be all the way down here, it could be here. So strong through that right hamstring, bring those hands to the hips. And stay in here, bring those arms all the way up, reaching to those fingertips, pull the shoulders down. And then releasing down. We're going to bring that left foot to meet that right foot. We're going to be down on our knees. Bring those knees towards the edge of the mat, and we're going to sink those hips back, reaching through, come down to a child's pose. And so everything relax for a breath or two. If you need water, go ahead and grab some water. And slowly press up. Go ahead through a tabletop and just go ahead and swing those legs around. And bring the come to a Baddha Konasana. Swing the soles of those feet together. We're gonna wrap our hands around the feet, lengthen, and then coming forward, pressing those knees down towards the mat. Nice tall, long spine from the tailbone all the way to the top of the head. And release. We'll straighten both of those legs. Press those hips forward for a deeper stretch. Bring those hands in front. Just walk those forward. Lengthen to the back of the neck. We're pressing through the feet, pressing down the backs of the knees. And just focusing on the breath into the belly. Softening on the exhalation. And walk those hands back in. Bring those legs together. Just grab the backs of your hamstrings and we're gonna roll down up our back. Grab the knees then. We're just gonna rock from side to side, massage the back, and take those circles if that feels good. I'm moving any way that feels good on the back. And you're gonna take those legs long. Reach up through the hands, fingertips, and moving that right ankle towards the right side of the mat. Bring that left ankle over. And reaching over, scooching over with those shoulders, taking that banana shape or cushion shape on the mat, lengthening to that side, left side of the body. You can grab that left wrist if you like and kind of pull that over. We're just reaching through the fingertips of both hands. And releasing. Work ourselves over to the other side. Opening to that right side of the body. Opening to the joints, the shoulder, the hips. Just imagine those ribs just opening a little bit. And scooching back to center and bending those knees. Bring that right ankle on top of that left knee. Press that away. And stay here. Grab that back of that left hamstring. Maybe even straighten that leg for a breath. Soften the gaze to the ceiling. Flexing both those feet. And release down. Switch legs. Press that left knee away. Keep that left foot flexed. Stay in here. Grab the back of that right hamstring. And straighten that leg. Rebend. And breathing into that left hip. Softening on the exhalation. And release that foot down. Left foot comes down. Pull those knees into the chest. Bring those arms to a T and just drop those knees to the right side of the body for a breath or two. Release into that twist. And pulling those knees back into center. Just drop them to the other side of your body. And pulling those knees back into the chest. Give them one last hug. And then send those legs along. Get into pose for Shavasana. So have those soles of the feet together or those legs long. You can even put something underneath, like a cushion or something underneath the knees if that feels good. This isn't just like a pillow or something. So lots of options, just finding what helps you release into the mat. And once you're there, just open up those palms to the ceiling, take a big breath. Exhale, gently close the eyes and just release down into the mat, let everything go. Start to follow your breath. Watch it as it enters and exits your body. And soften through the face. Let those muscles around the eyes release. The tongue is loose in the mouth. Cheekbones and the jaw soften. Let your shoulders melt down to the mat. Relaxation runs down the arms, the biceps, triceps, the forearms, the hands. Arms soften into the mat. That low back and the hips melt and widen. Hamstrings spread and soften, quads feel heavy. Let those calf muscles release. Let the feet soften. The whole body just softens and releases into the mat. Just continue to follow that breath. And inhale, relaxation. And the exhalation, just releasing a little bit more into the pose and into the mat. And slowly start to bring your awareness back to your body. Rock your head from side to side. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a big breath. And bend the knees. And roll to the right side of our body. Take another breath here. And slowly pressing up to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. On the next inhalation, gently open the eyes and blink a few times. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this morning. Hope you have a great rest of your day and see everyone on Friday.